Morning, everybody, and welcome to the News Hub. I'm Simon Constable. We have some breaking news for you. We have fresh economic data about the jobs market. We've got an unemployment rate of 6.2%. That's ticking up from previously 6.1%. 209,000 jobs created last month in July. That was a little less than expected. What was expected was around about 220,000. The prior month marked up from 288 to 298, so almost 300,000 jobs there. Let's go straight to Josh Zumbrun in our Washington bureau for more details on this. Josh, pretty impressive. A little short was what was expected.
I think that's a good way to think of it, Simon. 6 months ago, we would have been really happy anytime the jobs report came in over 200,000. We had that really surprisingly strong number last month of 288,000 jobs in 1 month. But I think most people who are looking at this are still going to be fairly happy for a month of 208,000, especially given where this economy had been over the past 5 years.
Okay, stay with us, Josh. We're going to go bring in Phil Izzo, who's an economics genius, and he's joining us from our newsroom. Phil, you've been diving into the numbers. What's next?
Hey, Simon. It looks like a decent report. It's not great in that it's only 209. We were expecting 230, but we have 6 months of consistent growth above 200,000. That's the best. That's the best streak we've had since 1997, which is pretty good. The number was a little bit below expectations, but revisions to prior months was up. That's always a good sign. And when we look at the unemployment rate, yes, it ticked up a little bit. There were more unemployed people, but the good news is a lot of people came back into the labor force. One of the things we've been watching for a long time is that there aren't enough people participating in the labor market, and it looks like last month a sizable number came back.
Now, one of the things I'm seeing here on the wire, Phil, is it says manufacturing payrolls plus 28,000, service producing 151,000, so still very loaded towards the service sector, which are oftentimes fairly low-wage jobs.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, generally the service sector is much larger than the manufacturing sector, so we're going to get more jobs there than we are going to get in manufacturing. But there has been a shift towards the lower paying jobs. Lots of jobs added in retail trade, for example, and in other service industries, restaurants and such. That raises questions of, are the jobs good enough to really increase consumer spending? Okay,
we'll come back to you in a moment, Phil. We go back to Josh Zumbrun. Josh, one of the things we're all wondering is what this report does to what the Federal Reserve will do about interest rates, monetary policy, all the rest of it. Any sense of that?
Yeah, I mean, the Fed's inclination in the last few years has really been to be very cautious, to be very slow to react to any sort of data. And so this will be a report that buys them the time that they like to have. I mean, if the unemployment rate had fallen to, 5.9 or something instead of risen very slightly to 6.2, not really a very big difference in the grand scheme of things, but for the Fed, that slight increase, it buys them a little bit more time to assess things. It makes their statement in their meeting on Wednesday that they see significant underutilization of labor market slack. They don't have to kind of go out on a limb to justify that as much. They still have that unemployment rate that's above 6%. So I think it means that the Fed is not going to be, the Fed has never been in a rush to raise rates, and this report does give them a little something they can point to continue to justify that stance for now.
Okay, Josh, we go back to Phil now in the newsroom. Phil Izzo, we're seeing also that the wage growth, the hourly earnings are flat.
Right.
That can't be much fun for anyone. We're hearing inflation ticking up a little bit, still not massive inflation, but when wages aren't moving, that's not good, is it?
Yeah, wages, they ticked up very slightly, which is definitely not keeping up with inflation. But in some ways, that's actually good news for the Federal Reserve, because the Federal Reserve is worried about wage pressures leading to inflation, which means that they're going to have to act sooner. So there's a bit of a double-edged sword there. On the one hand, it's not great because we want to see rising wages because we want people to be able to spend, but at the same time, it puts less pressure on the Fed, which doesn't want to jump in and raise rates too soon.
Okay, and Phil, when you dig deep into this, I mentioned the manufacturing jobs. There's a fair number there. The service jobs. Anything else you're finding out in the report?
There's also this broader number that we look at, which they call the U6. It's a rate that includes people who are part-time but they want to work full-time, and that actually ticked up too. But it looks like it's because there were more people in the labor force, people who were without a job coming back in. Again, that's good news, even though the numbers are higher because it makes it seem like the job market's good enough that some of these discouraged workers are coming back in and looking for jobs again.
Okay, Phil and Josh, thank you very much.